In the quiet village of Lomé, Togo, the sun hadn't yet starred when Kofi's eyes snapped open. No rooster, no call, just the familiar tug of duty pulling him from sleep. The shack he called home was dark, the air heavy with the scent of damp earth. At 12, Kofi's body was already a map of labor-calloused hands, a thin frame, and eyes that held more years than his age. He slipped on a tattered shirt, grabbed the broom with half its bristles gone, and stepped onto the cracked dirt floor. Outside, he swept the compound, dust rising like ghosts of forgotten dreams. By the time the first light crept over the horizon, Kofi had fetched water from the river, arranged firewood, and scrubbed the pots. He stepped further. Mensah sat under the mango tree, chewing kola nut, his eyes sharp with judgment. "This porridge tastes like sand," he barked, spitting into the dirt. "You trying to poison us, boy?" Kofi stood silent, hands clasped. His stepmother, Ifya, joined in, her voice slicing through the morning. "Useless child. You're lucky we feed you at all." Their son, Kwame, snickered, tossing a pebble that grazed Kofi's arm. "Even the dogs don't want you," he jeered. Kofi retreated to his corner of the shack, a cramped space with a mat and a single treasure, a faded photo of a woman with kind eyes, a man, and a small boy between them. His mother, long gone, her smile the only warmth he'd ever known. "Why didn't you stay?" he whispered, clutching the photo. One evening, as Kofi scrubbed the cooking pot, Ifya's voice cut through the air. "You're not even ours," she sneered. "Your mother was barren, found you abandoned by the riverbank, crying like a cursed thing. We took you in, and now look, misery follows you." Kofi's chest tightened. He turned to Mensah, hoping for denial, but his stepfather only grunted, "Be grateful we didn't leave you there." The words burned. Not theirs. Found. Cursed. That night, Kofi lay on his mat, staring at the photo. The boy in it, him, felt like a stranger now. He didn't cry. He'd learned long ago that tears changed nothing. Days later, a sleek white car rolled into the village, kicking up dust. A woman in a tailored dress, her face hidden behind dark glasses, stepped out with a man in a pressed suit. Mensah called Kofi forward. "Pack your things. You're going with them. They've paid for you to work in the city." Kofi's heart pounded. "Please, Papa, don't send me away," he begged. Mensah looked away, and Ifya smirked. "Go, river rat. Don't come back." Kwame waved mockingly. "Bye, curse boy." Kofi gathered his photo, a worn shirt, and a pair of shorts into a plastic bag. The car door slammed, and Lomé vanished behind him. The journey to Lomé's capital was a blur of wonders, paved roads, blinking lights, buildings that scraped the sky. Kofi sat rigid in the back seat, clutching his bag, the air conditioning chilling his bones. The couple in front, Madame Akojua and her husband, Teta, barely spoke. When they arrived at a gated estate, Kofi's jaw dropped. The mansion gleamed like a palace, its floors polished to a mirror's shine, chandeliers dripping light. Madame Akojua's voice was ice. "You're here to care for my mother-in-law," yes I. "She's ill. Feed her, clean her, give her medicine. No noise, no mistakes, or you'll regret it." A maid led Kofi to a small room at the back, a cot, a cracked mirror, a tiny window. Compared to his village mat, it was luxury. He set his mother's photo by the window and whispered, "I'll survive, Mama." At dawn, Kofi crept to Esai's room. The air was thick with neglect, the curtains drawn tight. Esai lay still, her face sunken, her breathing faint. Kofi opened the windows, letting light spill in. "Good morning, Mama Esai," he said softly, dipping a cloth in warm water. "You're strong, I can tell." He cleaned her gently, humming a tune his mother once sang. Esai's eyes flickered, a faint spark in their depths. Each day, Kofi returned, talking as he walked. He told her of the village, of racing boys up palm trees, of his mother's laughter. Esai began to respond, a blink, a twitch, then a raspy chuckle when Kofi mimicked Mensa's grumbling. "You're trouble, boy," she whispered one day, her voice like dry leaves. "I was trouble too. Built empires with these hands." Kofi grinned. "Teach me, Mama Esai. I want to be trouble like you." One day, Madame Akoshua ordered Kofi to clear an old room upstairs. "It belonged to my husband's brother's son," she said coldly. "Get rid of it all." In the dusty room, Kofi found a photo album. His breath caught. The boy in the pictures, curly hair, bright eyes, looked exactly like him. He pulled out his village photo. Same face, same smile. His hands shook. Could it be? That night, he showed Esai the photos. Her eyes widened, trembling fingers tracing the images. "Kofi," she whispered, "bring the phone." She dialed a number, her voice steady despite her frailty. "Kwesi, it's me. Get the doctor. We need a DNA test. Now." Three days later, the results came. Esai's voice was still as she answered the phone. 99.9%. "You're sure?" She turned to Kofi, tears in her eyes. "You're my grandson, Kofi. My son's boy, lost in that crash." She threw off her blanket and stood, shaky but defiant. "Enough hiding. Time to fight." Esai called her trusted aide, Kwesi, and within hours, the mansion buzzed with activity. Security men stormed in, ejecting Teta's loyal staff. Esai, dressed forth in a vibrant Kent robe, marched into the living room, Kofi at her side. Teta and Akoshua froze. "You thought I'd rot away?" Esai roared. "Pack your things. Out of my house." At the company headquarters, Esai strode into the boardroom, Kofi beside her. Teta's coffee cup shattered on the floor. "Mama," he stammered. Esai's voice cut through the silence. "You stole my son's legacy, bribed my board, locked me away. But God kept me alive, and He brought back my grandson." She gestured to Kofi. "This is Kofi, my son's heir. The rightful leader of this empire." The boardroom erupted, gasps, whispers, a director fainting. Esai slammed her hand on the table. "I'm back. And we are taking everything." That evening, Kofi sat in a grand bedroom, his village photo now in a silver frame. Esai entered, her eyes soft. "This is your home, Kofi." He sniffed, voice small. "They called me cursed, Nana. Said I brought death." Esai's face hardened. "We're going to the village. Tomorrow." At dawn, a convoy rolled into Lomé village. ESI stepped out, regal and fierce, Kofi beside her in new clothes. Mensa and Ifya froze. ESI's fan cracked against Ifya's shoulder. You called my grandson cursed. You're the curse. She tossed bundles of cash at their feet. Your payment for raising him. Never contact him again. Back in the city, ESI enrolled Kofi in an elite academy, hiring tutors to teach him business, math, and confidence. He walked taller, his eyes bright with purpose. At board meetings, ESI introduced him as my grandson, the future. Teta and Akoshua faded into obscurity, their schemes crumbling. One evening, Kofi stood on the company balcony, the city lights below. He smiled, his mother's photo in his pocket. From riverbank to royalty, he'd found his place. Thank you, Mama, he whispered. I'm home.